Hello, my name is Drew Miller, and for this week's takeaway, I'm going to share with you something that I am passionate about, and that's coffee. I've been working for Blanchard's Coffee Roasting Company for about 8 years, and the thing that I get most excited about when it comes to coffee is the diversity that it has as a beverage. Whether it's the beautiful places that it grows, the wonderful people that grow it, and ultimately the people that I get to share coffee with. It gets me really excited. Today I'm going to share with you a few things about how different brewing methods can highlight different flavor characteristics of a particular coffee. So here I have a few brewing methods. I have some here that use a filter, and then I have some here, or one here that does not use a filter, and then I've got an example of a coffee. I've got a coffee here from Ethiopia. Coffees from Ethiopia typically have really floral and fruity notes, and so I thought it'd be a good coffee to pair with these different brew methods and how it can highlight particular flavors found in this coffee. So, the brew methods. I've got one here. This is called a Hario V60. It's made of porcelain. It's a cone shape and it's got a large hole at the bottom with some grooves. And then it takes a filter of the same shape. It just goes right in there like that. I've got another one here that uses a filter. This is called a Chemex. It's a little bit larger. You can see the hole at the bottom is a little bit larger as well. No grooves. It takes a larger filter like this one, paper as well. Square shape, but once you unfold it and insert it into the brewing device, coffee goes in there. And then I've got one here that doesn't use a filter. This is a French press, something a lot of us are probably familiar with. We've got the vessel here, and then the thing that filters our finished coffee and the grounds is this metal mesh. And so that acts as the filter. And so what happens when we start brewing coffee? We've got our brewing device, we've got our coffee. The next thing we'll need is a recipe, a brewing recipe or a ratio. Something that I like to do when brewing coffee, just as a good starting point and maybe a good tip, is to start with a 16:1 ratio. And that's 16 grams of water for every 1 gram of coffee. Now I'm not going to be brewing any coffee today, but you can use that recipe for any of your brewing methods at home. Again, that's a 16:1 ratio, 16 grams of water to 1 gram of coffee, or per 1 gram of coffee. Now, back to the brew method. So, if I were to be brewing this Ethiopian coffee on these brew methods, again, this coffee, the flavor notes on here are dragon fruit, dehydrated strawberry, and hibiscus. So some floral, some fruitiness going on in this coffee, really, really interesting. If I were to use one of these filter methods, what would happen is after I would brew the coffee, the filter would literally filter out a lot of the fine sediments or grounds from the finished cup, and it would add a lot of clarity to the coffee. So a lot of those flavor notes that I just described would be really clear. The acidity would be really pronounced, and a lot of those flavors would be pretty obvious in the cup, and like I said, the acidity would heighten a lot of that. Again, because we're adding a filter, it's going to filter out a lot of the oils as well that are inherent in coffee. And so you're going to get a nice clean cup, a nice crisp finish on the finished cup. If I were to brew this same coffee in a French press, we don't have a filter that's going to filter out a lot of those fine sediments and those oils. And so the finished cup, you're still going to get those fruity floral notes, but they might be a little bit more nuanced and a little bit more muddled. You're going to get a lot more body as well in the final cup. And if you've ever had a French press, at the bottom of the cup, maybe at the last sip that you take, you can see some of that fine sediment at the bottom of the cup. It's all good. It doesn't matter which brew method you choose, but I hope you get to try these at home. Maybe pick one of these up and try some different coffees in these different brew methods. That's been this week's takeaway. Enjoy.